Hi, my name is Kyle Hirschfeld, and today I'm going to be talking to you about reactions to the My Lai Massacre over the last 50 years. Now, the My Lai Massacre of March 16, 1968 saw the deaths of between 300 and 500 Vietnamese civilians, and three authors, Drew Lindsay in Something Dark and Bloody, Fred L. Borch in My Lai at 50, and Kendrick Oliver in Coming to Terms with the Past, My Lai, explore why My Lai has faded from the public mind over the last 50 years, while it had been viewed as a landmark event in American history in 1968 in the immediate aftermath of its discovery. Drew Lindsay in Something Dark and Bloody asserts that views of war at the time and even now assert that war is going to be war. Atrocities occur in war. Essentially, boys will be boys, meaning that atrocities happen. Indeed, a woman in Indiana in the immediate aftermath of My Lai told a reporter that things like that happen in war. They always have and they always will. This was emblematic of the general public's reaction to My Lai. However, the reaction to Lieutenant William Cayley Jr., who was in charge of Company C, the company that was responsible for the most killings at My Lai, was the only soldier out of 26 who was convicted and court-martialed. So the reaction to Cayley's court-martial was enormous. Indeed, Georgia, their governor of the time, Jimmy Carter, urged residents to drive with their lights on in protest and to honor Cayley. So Lindsay asserts that it's our response as Americans to sympathize with American soldiers. Fred L. Borch in My Lai at 50 surveys literature over the last 50 years which relates to My Lai. He begins by contextualizing the killings, saying that American soldiers were high-strung at the time, and thus the killings were unfortunate, but they happened. He alleges that historians over the last 50 years have largely been against Cayley and Company C, though some, such as Bernd Geiner in War Without Fronts, have alleged that the faults lie not with Cayley or any other officer or soldier, but rather with the Army's system itself, because they treated American soldiers as useless, disposable, and lacking in self-esteem. So it was the training of the soldiers, not the soldiers themselves. Other historians have found that the Army's keeping of records of atrocities during the time seemed to clear them of fault. So there's a back and forth discussion going on there. Still, others have claimed that the massacre was seen as a major embarrassment to the Army, and thus they only wanted to pin the blame on one person, that being Cayley. That way they would sensationalize the events less and be able to sweep it under the rug a little bit easier, avoiding public scrutiny. Kendrick Oliver, in his 2006 article, Coming to Terms with the Past, My Lai, ultimately asserts that Americans are forgetting about My Lai and massacres such like it during the Vietnam War because their sympathies and imaginations lie with the perpetrators of the event. Americans have a tendency to sympathize with American soldiers rather than the victims at My Lai. Oliver's assertions rely upon a reactionary view toward the conduct of the perpetrators at My Lai, condemning the media and the American people for letting them off the hook for feelings of sympathy, while at the same time holding those soldiers accountable for the actions in the hope that it might teach Americans of today a lesson, though he never quite mentions what that lesson might be. So these are three different articles which explore why My Lai has been fading from public memory and what that might say about American public or about the Army in general. So that is what I will leave you with today. Thanks for watching.